right. Welcome back, everyone. Ready to dig into another deep dive?
Always excited to get into it.
So today we're tackling something, well, frankly, something pretty awesome. And honestly, who doesn't love a good cheeseburger?
Right. Hard to argue with that. Yeah. A true American classic.
Right. So, we asked you guys to send in anything you could find about, like, the history of the cheeseburger, where it came from, maybe some classic recipes.
Yeah, how did this iconic sandwich come to be?
Exactly. And wow, did you all deliver?
You weren't kidding about that deep dive, huh?
Not even a little bit. But hey, that's what we're here for. So, get ready for some maybe surprising revelations. You might think you know the cheeseburger, but trust me, its origins are, well, let's just say they're a bit more tangled than you might expect.
Oh, absolutely. The cheeseburger has a story, that's for sure. And it's one that reflects a lot about American culture,
Okay, so no more teasing. Let's get into it. First things first, where did this magnificent creation even come from? Who gets to claim the title of cheeseburger inventor?
Well, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And to be honest, it's a question with multiple answers.
Multiple answers.
Yeah.
Okay, now you've got me really intrigued. We're talking competing claims, rival inventors, maybe some secret recipes.
Haha, maybe not secret recipes, but definitely some passionate claims to the invention of the cheeseburger. But to understand those claims, I think it helps to understand the context a bit, We have to rewind back to, the early 1900s.
Okay, so set the stage for us.
So picture America in the early 20th century. Everything's changing. Industrialization's booming. Cities are growing like crazy. People are, on the move. They're working longer hours. And with all that change, one thing becomes pretty clear. People need to eat, but they need food that's fast, affordable, and convenient.
Yeah, I mean, who has time to cook a 4-course meal when you're building a skyscraper, right?
Exactly. And that's where, this whole new dining culture starts to pop up and fast food is born. And of course, the hamburger, that was already kind of making a name for itself.
Perfect setup for the cheeseburger to enter the scene.
Exactly. Now, one of the most popular stories, and it's a good one, takes us to Pasadena, California in 1924. We find ourselves at the right spot, a little sandwich shop owned by a guy named Charles Sternberger. And here's the kicker. His son Lionel, just a teenager at the time, is working there.
Oh, I see where this is going. Teenage ingenuity strikes again.
You got it. So the story goes that Lionel, he's experimenting, flipping burgers, and on a whim, he decides to slap a slice of American cheese onto one of those sizzling patties.
And just like that, the cheeseburger is born. Seems almost too simple.
Right. But hey, sometimes the simplest ideas are the most brilliant. And at least according to the right spot, that moment of teenage inspiration gave birth to the cheese hamburger, which, eventually got shortened to the cheeseburger we all know and love.
I have to say, there's something really charming about the idea of a teenager in a sandwich shop creating something so iconic. But I have a feeling that's not the only claim to fame here, right?
Oh, you are absolutely right. We have to head east to Louisville, Kentucky for our next contender. This time, it's Kaelin's restaurant. And they're claiming they were serving up a pretty similar cheesy delight around 1934.
Okay, so another early entry into the cheeseburger game. But you mentioned something earlier about a trademark.
Ah, yes, that's the interesting part. See, while Kaelin's has a good story and a strong claim, they never actually went and trademarked the name cheeseburger.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just about who made it first, but who made it official.
It really highlights how important branding and intellectual property were, even way back then. And in the case of the cheeseburger, that honor goes to Louis Ballast of the Humpty Dumpty Drive-In in Denver, Colorado. He was the first to officially register the name cheeseburger in 1935.
So he's the one who really made it official. And it's kind of fitting that the first official cheeseburger trademark went to a drive-in. Right. I mean, talk about classic Americana.
Absolutely. The rise of the drive-in was a huge part of American car culture, and the cheeseburger fit right into that whole scene.
Okay, so we've uncovered some of the history, the multiple origin stories, the trademark drama. I'm ready to get down to the real business here.
Yeah.
Actually making a classic cheeseburger.
And you're in luck. Our listeners were kind enough to send in a fantastic classic cheeseburger recipe.
So break it down for us. What makes a cheeseburger classic?
Well, this recipe starts with the star of the show, the beef, and it calls for a specific kind of beef, 80% lean ground chuck.
Now, why is that so important? Is it just any ground beef?
Not quite. Chuck comes from the shoulder of the cow, and it's got this beautiful marbling of fat. And that fat is what makes the burger so juicy and flavorful when you cook it up.
Okay, you have me at juicy. What else?
And this is where things get beautifully simple. You season those chuck patties with just salt and pepper. That's it.
No secret spice blends, no fancy marinades, just salt and pepper.
Sometimes the simplest things are the best, right? Let that beef flavor really shine through.
I like it. So what about the cheese? What's the classic choice here?
Well, for a truly classic cheeseburger, you can't go wrong with mild cheddar. But hey, that doesn't mean you can't get creative. Try sharp cheddar for something, tangier, or maybe even venture out into the world of smoked Gouda for something a little different.
So many cheesy options. All right, let's talk cooking. What's the best way to get these patties perfectly cooked?
Well, you have options here. A hot grill will give you those lovely grill marks and a nice smoky flavor. But if you don't have a grill, a good old cast iron skillet will work wonders. The key is high heat, no matter which method you choose. You want to sear those patties, get a nice crust on the outside while keeping them juicy on the inside.
And what about the buns? Were you just slapping the patties on any old bread?
Absolutely not. We need those buns toasted to perfection. A little bit of butter, lightly toasted golden brown, it makes all the difference, trust me.
Okay, you're speaking my language. So we've got those juicy patties, melty cheese, perfectly toasted buns. What's next? It's time for toppings.
You got it. Now, this classic recipe calls for the usual suspects. Crisp lettuce, juicy tomato slices, some red onion for a little bite, and of course, the tangy crunch of pickles.
It's like a symphony of flavors and textures.
It really is. But remember, these are just suggestions. The beauty of a cheeseburger is that you can truly make it your own. Don't be afraid to add your own personal touch. Experiment with different toppings, different cheeses.
Absolutely. I love that about cheeseburgers. They're like blank canvases for flavor.
Exactly. And, when you think about it, it's pretty incredible that this simple sandwich, maybe invented by a teenager, has become such a symbol of American food.
Yeah, we started with a teenager in a sandwich shop, traveled through trademark battles, and ended up with a recipe that anyone can make at home.
The next time you bite into a cheeseburger, just think about all the people and all the history that went into creating it. It's a story of ingenuity, entrepreneurial spirit, and of course, deliciousness.
I don't know about you all, but I'm suddenly craving a cheeseburger. So big thanks to everyone who sent in their research and recipes. We had a blast diving into the world of the cheeseburger.
And if any of you try out that classic recipe or maybe invent your own amazing cheeseburger creation, let us know. We'd love to hear about it.
Until next time, happy cheeseburgering, everyone.